injured in a fiery crash on Interstate 44 this evening. 3 people are arrested, and Pittsburgh police are still looking for one suspect related to a drive-by shooting back on June 3rd. Correction facilities in Kansas are overcrowded, and the safety of inmates and state employees could be at risk. Vehicle crashes into a building near downtown Joplin today, striking a gas main. Take a look at this. It happened earlier today near 14th and South Main. It's a growing issue across the state of Kansas, especially in rural communities. New data from Child Care Aware of Kansas and the Department for Children and Families shows there are not enough child care options available for families. And it's like a pen, like you color on the sunglasses.
You don't use a Sharpie.
Shelby, no.
Making brownies. These are keto-friendly, are they not?
Sure.
Sure they are. I'm sure they are. There's no carbs and no sugar.
They are a boxed brownie, and they have lots
and they're delicious.
We just need all the forecasts because we need you to say there's no rain on Saturday.
Yeah. In fact, if you're hunting maple leaves, we can tackle those two at the exact same time.
And I believe the parade just started, and we'll show it to you once it gets our way. But let's talk about some things that are also going on in Arkansas baseball preparing for the College World Series. I don't think we're going to like it, though.
Yeah, you're facing Florida State. You may like it. Your team may win.
We're both Florida State alumni, though.
They'll pull
Arkansas has a big, powerful lineup, though. That's the thing you guys should be worried about. Yeah.
But we're talking today, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
We are talking today about proper storage and proper disposal of two things that are very important part of this mental health discussion, which is storing and disposing of firearms and storing and disposing of medication. So it's a heavy topic.
It is a heavy topic.
A man shoots and kills his 11-year-old daughter before killing himself in Miami last night. Police were called to 217 I Street Northwest for a report of gunshots around 8:30 p.m. The suspect, 39-year-old David Billings, was found dead inside the home from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 11-year-old Kayla Billings was also found fatally shot. 2 other gunshot victims were also found on the scene, 38-year-old Melissa Wallace and 38-year-old James Miller. They were both life-flighted to Tulsa and are in stable condition. Now, Wallace was Kayla's mother and is pregnant. Authorities say Billings is Wallace's ex and that they've had an ongoing domestic issue. OSBI is taking over the investigation, which is also ongoing. Now, the Miami Public School District will provide support systems for students when they return from fall break on Monday. City workers fired, the mayor resigns, but what led up to that explosive Frontenac City Council meeting is what we at KSN are trying to figure out with a Kansas Open Records request. If you'll remember, back on October 3rd, we submitted a request to the city of Frontenac. We asked for a written and electronic communication between city council members in regards to the meeting on Monday, September 16th. Now, the city of Frontenac responded asking us to pay $3,500. They say they need that money to access and make copies of those records. The money accounts for paying each employee $25 an hour for the search, plus a 25-cent cost per page for each copy. Now, this is the same response they have given to both KOAM and the Pittsburgh Morning Sun. Meanwhile, education leaders are saying too many students are falling behind when it comes to reading. Our Kansas Capitol Bureau reporter Alec Gartner tells us there might soon be hope for struggling kids. In this month of breast cancer awareness, it's only fitting we bring you a story of survival and perseverance. Tonight in our Freeman Health Buddy Check 16, we meet Elsie Morris, whose infectious personality continues to outweigh any difficult days she's had these last 2 years.
This Buddy Check 16 story is sponsored by Freeman Health System.
Consider it done.
Yep.
As you step just inside the main doors of Franklin Tech, it's hard not to notice Elsie Morris's bright and vibrant personality.
That was one of the things I had decided I'm not dying until I have that piece of paper in my hot little hand.
She's talking about her doctorate degree in education from Oklahoma State University.
When I started my degree plan as a doctorate, I always knew I wanted to work in a tech center in administration, and that was goal before I ever was diagnosed.
Life took a turn when Elsie discovered a lump on July 31st, 2017, her 29th wedding anniversary.
I didn't want that to mar the anniversary, so I never mentioned it to my husband until a couple of days later.
And it had to wait longer while she battled some other health concerns before she finally got into the doctor.
Of course, the day that I had my diagnostic mammogram, they did an ultrasound as well, and they told me right then. We knew, the radiologist knew immediately.
It turned out to be hormone-negative, HER2-positive, aggressive stage 3 breast cancer.
I was never sick until all of this crazy stuff started happening.
It affected a lymph node, and when chemo began in October of 2017, she could only make it through 5 rounds.
I was hospitalized twice, and he told me going in that he would take me to the brink of death but not let me go over. And quite literally, that's what happened.
Elsie ended up with heart failure, so chemo had to stop. But once her labs were okay, she received a double mastectomy, and then it was time to tackle the cancer again in May of 2018.
I was asked to participate in a radiation study. It was a blind study, so going in, I didn't know whether I would receive the radiation or not.
As it turns out, she was chosen to receive 25 rounds of high-powered radiation for the study. And while she's doing better, the road hasn't been easy. That includes gallbladder surgery, heart failure, and lymphedema.
I use a lymphedema pump an hour and a half every day just to keep that at bay.
Her smile still shines through it all, though. Something she credits to her team of doctors at the Freeman Cornell Beshore Cancer Institute.
My oncologist is Dr. Schaer, and he and his team are absolutely fantastic. I owe my life to him. I really, truly do.
Plus, a little help from a higher power has carried her through.
I just look at every new day as a blessing, and my prayer on the way in, I drive in from Grove, and so every day I pray, God, let me be a blessing to someone and show me that person that needs me today and show me how to best help them. So that's my life philosophy right now.
A Southwest Missouri man doesn't let anything stop him from working on his family's farm. KSN's Jessica Schaer introduces him to us tonight.
I would feed them every day, go through here and feed them, and then we water them.
It's just a typical day on the farm for Noah Schultz. Although he might not be your typical farmer.
I'll just go ahead and I can feed these some more.
I think I was 12 when they actually found my first diagnosis. It's called centronuclear myopathy.
It affects his muscles, making it difficult for them to function normally.
I don't really have any limitations other than I can't walk much more than short distances.
But he can do everything else on the farm, lift stuff, move things, and of course, take care of his prized goats.
You take them out in the show, you fit them, you shave them so they're good and clean, and pretty much just you brace them in the show, the judge looks at them, and he picks the one with the most top shape, muscle, and look.
Noah prepares the goats for show all on his own, never letting his disability get in his way. It's a strength, he says, comes from farming itself.
A lot of kids today, if they could spend the time on a farm for a week, they would learn a lot of stuff just about life. Just watching life and God's creation, that's the biggest thing for me.
The can-do attitude keeps him going. He can go to any part of the farm.
We just tried to do everything around here where I could get into it. I mean, if it's too muddy, I can't get anywhere. I don't really want to get pulled out.
So that's why his wheelchair is as tough as him.
Something with not like little wheels or anything, something that's kind of have a little speed and grit to it, so if it gets into something a little slushy, we can get through it. So
it's his family's farm, and he helps his dad out a lot, but he aspires to do even more in his life.
I'd like to live on the farm, but and raise these goats, but I would also like to have a job, obtain a job, something to kind of fall back on.
But until he can find a job, he doesn't mind taking care of all his work at home.
Feed the goats, water the goats, hay the goats, and just make sure, go through all the pens, make sure everybody's okay.
And that's just all in a day's work. In Southwest Missouri, Jessica Schaer, KSN Local News.